Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kami dari kelompok 8, mata kuliah Analisis Zat Gizi Mikro. Di sini kami akan mempresentasikan tentang simulasi terkait penggunaan GLP atau Good Laboratory Practice. Pertama-tama, perkenalkan saya Eka Putri Indah-Lestari dan rekan-rekan saya.
Riza Hanum Pulungan,
Ruth Meliana Sihite,
Septi Bella Simamurah,
Muhammad Handrian.
Nah, jadi sebelum kita melakukan simulasi GLP, apakah di sini ada yang tahu apa sih yang dimaksud dengan GLP tersebut?
ya saya tahu. Nah, GLP adalah suatu pengorganisasian laboratorium dalam proses pelaksanaan pengujian fasilitas, tenaga kerja, dan kondisi yang dapat menjamin agar pengujian dapat dilaksanakan, dimonitor, dicatat, dan dilaporkan sesuai standar nasional, internasional, serta memenuhi persyaratan keselamatan dan kesehatan.
Nah, kalau kita sudah mengetahui apa itu GLP, maka langsung saja kita lakukan simulasinya.
Welcome to the lab safety simulation. I am Dr. 1, your AI lab assistant. Today, you will learn everything you need to know to survive your first day in the lab. Are you ready for the challenge? This simulation uses voiceovers. If you don't have audio, click the speaker symbol on the top right of your lab pad. Using the lab pad is an important way to get the most out of this simulation. Is this the first time you are playing a Labster simulation? This is your lab pad. Use the lab pad at any time to access relevant theory about the lab, or additional instructions on what to do next. You can slide down the lab pad by clicking anywhere on the background. Well done. When your lab pad is lowered, you can listen to me without having to click continue. You can interact with highlighted objects. Arrows help you in finding their location. Now click on the corner of your lab pad. The lab pad will guide you through the virtual lab and will store all the information you collect while playing. Click continue to proceed. Make sure you read the information in this white text box carefully. You can access all relevant information in the 4 tabs above. Right now, you're in the Home tab. Click on the Theory tab to learn about the 4 tabs of the lab pad. Use your mouse wheel or drag the gray bar on the right side of the lab pad to scroll down. Scroll down now and click on the option on the bottom of the page. You can rotate the camera by clicking and dragging your cursor to the side. Click on the background to lower your lab pad and try it out. If you ever get stuck somewhere, you can click me for help. During the simulation, I will ask you multiple choice questions with 4 options. Only one is correct. Let's try it out. What is my name? Click on the Theory tab to find out. Well done. That is the correct answer. When you answer a quiz question correctly, your score will increase. You will get 10 points if you answer the question correctly on the first try. For every additional attempt, 2 points will be subtracted from your score. This question is not scored. That's why the score on the top left of your lab pad is still 0. The lab pad can also show you images relevant for the simulation. After being shown, they will be unlocked and available in the Media tab. Click the View Image button to have a look at the hazardous symbols that you may encounter in this lab.
Nah, jadi ini tuh simbol-simbol yang ada di dalam lab.
You can track your progress in the Mission tab. Go to the Mission tab if you want to get an overview of your work or load from a checkpoint. Good job. Now you know how to use the functions of the lab pad. It's time to get hands-on. You can interact with the objects in this lab by clicking on them once. If you hover over an object, you will see a tooltip pop up. In case an object is out of view, you will see arrows on the side of your field of view. Just turn around to find the object. Are you ready to start with your mission? Perfect. Then let's get started with your first mission. First, find a lab coat. Click on it to put it on.
Nah, sebelum kita masuk lab, kita diwajibkan
Now pick up the
menggunakan
safety
baju lab
goggles and you are
dan
ready to
juga
go.
kacamata untuk keselamatan juga.
Click on the door to enter the laboratory. This lab was used by first-year chemistry students and they obviously didn't leave it in the safest condition. Have a look around and identify the different hazards. Find 5 safety hazards and click on them. A sink full of dirty glassware isn't a nice surprise. Make sure you always clean, dry, and put away the equipment after every experiment. Let's remove the glassware.
Sebelum kita melakukan praktikum, maka pastikan terlebih dahulu semua alat-alat sudah dicuci dengan bersih dan
Beautiful,
dikeringkan.
clean and tidy. 1 hazard down, 4 more to go. Identify the hazards by clicking on them. The fume hood constantly draws air through a filter to ensure that you don't get in contact with dangerous chemicals. The airflow only works effectively if the glass sash is pulled down. Let's close this fume hood. What a relief. Now the air is safe to breathe. There are 3 more hazards. Can you find them? For sure, chemicals need to be stored in designated cupboards and not just placed on the floor. This is especially important for reactive chemicals. Flammable liquids need to be stored in fireproof cabinets. There are 2 more hazards. Can you find them? Well spotted. Every lab has 2 emergency exits which ensure that nobody gets cornered in the event of a fire. The emergency door isn't any good if it is blocked by objects. Click on the handcart to move it to a safe location.
Pastikan juga bahwa tidak ada yang menghalangi jalan akses keluar masuk kita.
Well done. The emergency exits have to always be clear. There is 1 more hazard. Click on it. That's it. This bench looks very messy. It is important to keep the lab bench tidy. Any clutter should be cleared away before starting a new experiment, and there should be no hazardous chemicals left on a workbench. Time to take care of the hazardous chemicals on boxes. Click on them to have a closer look. Click on the box. Well done. The red diamonds on the bottles are called hazard symbols. Each of them depicts a different hazard. Have a look at the following overview of the different hazard symbols. Which symbol depicts an oxidizing reagent? Precisely. Oxidizing reagents are very dangerous because they can accelerate chemical reactions, such as fires, by providing electronegative atoms. What does the following symbol mean? You got it. There are many kinds of health hazards. Substances with this symbol can cause respiratory problems, induce mutations and cancer, or may be toxic to specific organs. Here is an image of the hazard symbol on the box. What does it mean? Well done. These chemicals definitely don't belong here. Imagine if somebody walks into the pile and the glass bottles fall onto the floor. If they break, they could light a fire and the explosives next to them would certainly produce a bombastic news story. Click on the bottles to remove them. Let's get rid of this safety hazard. Click on the cluttered workbench to tidy it up. Oh dear, this workbench is a real mess. Hopefully, you will never see something like this in a real lab. Let's take care of the problems one by one. Start with turning off the Bunsen burner. It is very dangerous to keep an open flame unattended. Turn off the Bunsen burner flame. Great. Now click on an object that you should never bring into the lab. Well spotted. Food and drink are strictly prohibited in the lab. Imagine if somebody grabbed the wrong bottle by mistake and took a sip of the toxic substance.
Sebelum kita memulai praktek, singkirkan barang-barang yang tidak perlu berada di
There's
sekitar
another
kita,
object
karena
that
itu
doesn't
akan
belong here.
membahayakan kita
Find it.
ketika kita sedang melakukan
Exactly.
praktikum.
Personal equipment is not supposed to be placed on workbench surfaces. Could you imagine what would happen if this backpack caught fire? Before you touch anything else, better wear gloves. Click on the glove box to put some on.
Ketika kita akan menyentuh
There is a
apapun,
living
gunakanlah
organism on
sarung
this
tangan.
bench. Can you find it? Oh, have a look at this. There is a bacteria colony growing on this agar plate. This might be some dangerous pathogen. We need to use a special bin for biological waste. Discard the petri dish with the unknown bacterial sample in the biohazard waste bin. There is still a protocol from a previous experiment on the table. Clean up the lab protocol. Oops, you just spilled a hazardous chemical. Have a look at the hazard symbol on the beaker. What does the hazard symbol on the beaker mean? Brilliant. This is a corrosive chemical. We are dealing with either an acid or a base. You can use a pH indicator to figure out what it is. You only need a tiny drop of the indicator. You can use a micropipette for this. Pick up the pipette from its holder. Now pick up a pipette tip from the box. Draw up a drop of the indicator liquid. Now add a drop to the spill to identify if it's an acid or a base. Fantastic. When you added the indicator liquid to the spill, the drop turned red. This means the spilled chemical must be a strong acid. We need to neutralize it before cleaning it up. Strong acids react with your skin can cause burns. That's why it's very important to protect your hands with gloves. First, discard the tip in the trash bin and put the pipette. Spills of strong acids or bases have to be neutralized before you can dispose of them. Sodium bicarbonate is the chemical term for baking soda. It neutralizes the acid, and the remains can be scooped into a plastic bin and discarded. Let's neutralize this acid spill. Pick up the baking soda. Put baking soda on the spilled solution. Well done. Now put the neutralizer back on the shelf. Now it is safe to use an absorbent paper to clean up the spill. The neutralized acid can be disposed of in the solid chemical waste. Usually, the chemical waste is stored in a fume hood. During the cleanup, your gloves got contaminated. You need to dispose of them to avoid spreading chemicals over everything you touch. Click on the trash bin to discard your contaminated gloves. Why didn't you just clean the spill with water? Superb. If you drop water into a strong acid, they react and produce a lot of heat. The reaction could potentially lead to splashes of acid. A drop of such a corrosive chemical in your eye could cause serious damage and lead to blindness. That's why it's essential to wear safety goggles all the time. Now, just because this is a virtual lab, let's do something crazy and simulate a situation in which you don't wear any safety goggles. Don't put the goggles on the bench. Pour the beaker containing the unknown acid solution into the bottle with the unknown toxic liquid. Like I said, don't ever try this at home. This seems to have triggered an interesting reaction. It seems potentially dangerous. What should you do now? Definitely, if you have no idea what kind of chemicals you are dealing with, you better get out of the lab until the danger is contained. In this case, we will do the opposite to show you what can happen if you make this critical mistake. Hopefully, you will remember this for the rest of your lab career, and never do it. Let's see what would happen if you close the bottle. It's still bubbling. Take a closer look by picking the bottle up. Click on the lab pad for more information. Oh no, you've got acid in your eyes. Quickly go to the red safety station next to the push the toggle at the
Ketika
safety station
mata
to
ataupun
rinse your eyes
kepiting
with water.
tersebut berminyak, maka sebaiknya kita mencuci di air bersih yang mengalir selama 20 menit.
After washing the acid out of your eyes, you should immediately consult a doctor. Your eyes are very fragile and it is very important to protect them with safety goggles at all times. Why is it dangerous to wear contact lenses in the lab? No, this is incorrect. Please. Precisely, the chemical splash might get in between the lenses and the eyeball, and stay there even when you start washing your eyes. If you wear contact lenses, follow the safety instructions of your lab. In some labs it's forbidden to wear contact lenses, in others you must follow additional safety precautions. Your decision to evacuate the lab has been reconfirmed. If something is steaming or bubbling, you should never close it. If the reaction continues, the pressure will increase until it explodes. Congratulations on your smart decision. Now, can you find the fire blanket? What should you not do if a person's clothes suddenly catch fire? You got it. The most effective way to extinguish burning clothes is by rolling on the floor. Water is also a good choice if it's in close proximity. If you see a burning person running down a corridor to reach a safety shower, stop them and try to smother the fire. Never use a fire blanket on a standing person. The blanket may create a chimney effect that can intensify the fire and burn the person's face. What would you use if there was an open fire in the lab? Precisely. There are usually two different types of fire extinguishers: carbon dioxide-based extinguishers and foam-based extinguishers. Never use a carbon dioxide-based extinguisher on a person. Do you know the reason why? Brilliant. The carbon dioxide is compressed inside the extinguisher and becomes freezing cold when it's released. Exposure to the skin might cause serious frostbite. What is the first thing you have to do if there is a fire in the lab? No, this is incorrect. Precisely. Fighting the fire is only a priority when everybody is safe and aware of the danger. It's important to stay calm and first figure out what type of fire you are dealing with. Some fires actually get worse when you throw water on them. Great job. You're a safety expert now. Your friend, Lucy, just entered the lab. She has never worked in a lab before. Teach her what you have learned today. What lab safety protocols is Lucy violating? You can always lower the lab pad and have a look at her again.
Bisa kita lihat bahwa temannya di sini tidak menggunakan perlengkapan lab dengan baik dan benar.
That's right. Have a look at her again and identify what's wrong. Click on different parts of Lucy's clothing to identify her mishaps. Well spotted. When you are working in the lab, long hair should be tied back. Imagine if her hair catches fire on a Bunsen burner flame. Good job. You have already learned why it's important to properly protect your eyes. Normal glasses don't suffice. Never forget to wear safety goggles. She looks pretty unprofessional without a lab coat, right? Not only do lab coats make you look like a pro, but they also protect your clothes and skin from any minor spills. Well spotted. Large jewelry can get in the way, fall into chemicals or cause a hazard and has no place in the lab. These loose sleeves are very impractical. You don't want your sleeves soaked in chemicals. That's it. It is compulsory to wear long pants in the lab to protect your skin from spills. Exactly. Toes should be covered to protect from falling objects as well as chemical spills. Well done. You have proven that you know how to work in a lab. What do you have to do before leaving the lab to make sure you don't carry traces of chemicals outside?
Sebelum keluar lab, maka kamu harus
Exactly. If there are
melepaskan
traces
dulu
of chemicals in
baju
your
lab dan
hands,
juga
you
mencuci
might,
tangan.
for example, transfer them to something that you eat later in the day. Let me ask you one last question. Do you feel like you gained relevant knowledge during this simulation? Thank you for your feedback. Your score has been saved together with your 100% progress. Congratulations, you have completed the simulation. We hope you enjoyed it and you feel wiser now.
Jadi dari apa sih simulasi tersebut disimpulkan bahwa penerapan GLP ini bertujuan meyakinkan bahwa data hasil yang diuji dihasilkan untuk dipertimbangkan. Yang pertama itu ada perencanaan dan pelaksanaan yang benar. Yang kedua, praktek pengambilan sampel yang baik. Yang ketiga, praktek melakukan analisa yang baik. Selanjutnya ada praktek melakukan pengukuran yang baik. Terus ada praktek mendokumentasikan hasil pengujian atau data yang baik. Dan yang terakhir itu praktek menjaga akomodasi dan lingkungan kerja yang baik. Dengan demikian, laboratorium pengujian yang menerapkan GLP dapat menghindari kekeliruan atau kesalahan yang mungkin timbul, sehingga menghasilkan data yang tepat, akurat, dan tak terbantahkan, yang pada akhirnya dapat dipertahankan secara ilmiah maupun secara hukum.
Selain itu, setiap personil juga harus mengetahui dan memahami teori dasar teknik dan metode kerjanya. Dan disarankan kita menganggap apapun yang ada pada ruangan laboratorium itu berbahaya, sehingga kita dapat lebih berhati-hati, karena apabila tidak, zat kimia yang ada bisa saja meledak.
Sekian hasil presentasi kami mengenai materi GLP. Jika banyak kekurangan di dalamnya, kami mohon maaf. Kami dari kelompok 8 undur diri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.